Rob? Rob, are you okay? Shit. Oh, shit. Came back from the dead.
Let's do this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Red Room. Today we have a very special show for you. Today we're going to be talking about RFK dropping out of the race. We're going to be talking about Kamala Harris and the speech that she gave, and sort of like Trump's downfall going forward after that. We also have the Republican war on children, which will be a really funny topic. If you like what you hear, please consider giving us a follow. And if you don't like what you hear, consider dropping a hate comment.
Yes.
So the first news of the hour is, well, you heard that RFK Jr. finally dropped out of the race. Everybody saw this coming. I mean, this was expected. There was no way this wasn't going to happen. There was a phone call that dropped a couple months ago where RFK's on the phone with Donald Trump after he got shot, and he's like, "Oh, Trump said something about like, oh, we're gonna win this race."
Yeah.
All right, buddy. We understand what you're saying. You know, we hear you loud and clear. His VP candidate just went onto a podcast the other day and basically said, you know, we're considering our options right now. We're considering, you know, staying in the race and helping Donald Trump. She initially had thought that the campaign would actually help move votes away from Kamala Harris in order to help Trump. Ended up not being the case at all. I mean, that was just everybody knew that wasn't going to be the case. Then she considers, you know, all right, RFK drops out, all those voters go to Donald Trump. So not super surprising. Like I said, I think we knew what the original intention was. So one of the clips, the first clip that we have here is RFK kind of being a bad sport about it. I think that's probably like the best way to describe it. Kind of calls out Kamala Harris for not calling him on the phone, which is like, why would they, like, no serious Democrat's gonna consider calling you on the phone. Like, you're not somebody to be taken seriously. You were the original anti-vaxxer. Everybody knows you for that. Even before you ran for president, nobody actually took you seriously for that very reason alone. So let's we'll watch that clip.
And interfering with our elections. Following my first discussion with President Trump, I tried unsuccessfully to open similar discussions with Vice President Harris. Vice President Harris declined to meet or even to speak with me, suspending my candidacy.
He sounds like a rejected boyfriend at this point. I mean, he's just super. He's salty. He didn't get picked. I mean, he was gonna put out his support to the highest bidder, and that's just essentially what he was gonna do. He was not going to. And this was the end game because why? RFK is a snake. He's not going to be like a viable candidate, and he knew he wasn't going to be a viable candidate, but he knew it would give him enough publicity so that he could leverage his support in order to get a position. And it's just really sad when you see him going forth with Donald Trump. Also, they are saying that he is withdrawing his campaign standing within only the battleground states. This should be illegal. I do not know why this is not raising any red flags, but everywhere where it was close between Kamala and Trump, he is rescinding his name from the ballot. But in all the other states where it's not even close, he is keeping his name on the ballot. So it is, you know, there's some serious collusion going on. I do not like where this is going, but also at the same time, am I worried about RFK support, all 20 of them? No, I'm not worried about RFK supporters going to Trump. At the end of the day, I feel like they were for Trump anyways. Yeah. They're more in line with Trump values than anything else as well.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, I don't even know what kind of person was an original RFK supporter. It seems to me like it was people that were sort of disillusioned with the way that the system was working. The whole ironic thing about this is that the big part of his speech today when he drops out is he says that he felt like there was some, like, the big money machine, I think, quote unquote, said was like making was forcing Kamala into the spotlight. Isn't this what you're doing? Like, colluding with Donald Trump? Isn't this exactly what you're doing? So all of those voters that are voting for supported you in the beginning because of this sort of like backdoor collusion that you're claiming that there is, now they're disillusioned with you. Like, why would they even listen to what you have to say now because you're doing this? I mean, it's just silly. Here we have Cenk Uygur. Cenk Uygur received some criticism, obviously, because he is sort of like friends with RFK. All right, interesting. So,
I mean,
do I believe Cenk Uygur? No. And we actually have a clip of Cenk Uygur directly supporting RFK.
Jonathan, I don't know any host on the left that has been fair to RFK Jr. at all. Period. A single one, let alone as fair as me. So I'm telling you his downsides. I'm telling you his upsides. No one ever tells you his upsides, but I'm not going to hide his downsides. So the reality is he has both of those, and I don't know what to do with them, right? So, but as I said last night, I got enough balls to say I'm considering him, which is like in my world, that's heresy. Like in my circles, they'll burn me at the stake for saying I'm considering RFK Jr. Okay, but I am, because his housing is better, his defense is better, his money in politics is way better. And I say, if you give me a random American, I'll take them over Biden or Trump, because I know I'm going to get wall-to-wall corruption with Biden and a wall-to-wall lunacy and potential fascism with Trump. So I'll take a rando. At least they're not crooked, right? They're going to be honest. Maybe they're the right, left, or whatever, but at least they're not going to be crooks. So if I'll take a rando, will I take RFK Jr. over these two clowns? I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. But so if you're in the camp of hating me for that, now go ahead and hate me. If you're in the camp of saying, no, you should have already made up your mind to support him, go ahead and hate me for that. Or just let's all try to figure this thing out together.
What a bad take.
What did he just say? I didn't support RFK Jr. It sounds like you were supporting RFK Jr. You were soft launching your little love story with RFK Jr. in that clip. I mean, that's just the reality. I don't know who would even take Cenk Uygur seriously nowadays, but if you watch a clip like that, clearly him showing his support for RFK Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here? The Young Turks are not the Young Turks from 2010. They're no longer the bastion of liberal policies anymore. They're moving further and further right. And I'm not surprised that Cenk Uygur is such a bad judge of character, considering everything that his co-host has been saying about trans people, about crime, sort of like these little soft pitches to the right, like, here you go, let me spoon feed the right so they come over like little dogs and come talk to us. I mean, what kind of fucking game are we playing here?
Well, they're trying to see if they'll take the bait. And they're going to see what their numbers are, if they're going to start pulling in more people who are independents or more toward the right, toward their platform. But I mean, their platforms already, listen, whatever policies like they try to move towards the middle with, they are not going to be attractive to the right. I mean, the right's just so far over there. So unless they go full, neo-Nazi over here, they're not going to be getting any of that support. And also, it's a little hypocritical from Cenk over here talking about they're not giving them a fair shake, when it's like, hey, we don't give every lunatic out on the street a platform, all right? And so I don't know if that support was so that platform right there, that support was definitely before the Bear story broke. So I would really be curious to see what Cenk had to say about afterwards, because he's not a total lunatic, and also a random over of Trump and Biden just makes no sense. What a bad take on picking a new candidate. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, and I mean they have ties. I mean, here's a picture of Cenk Uygur and RFK going on a hike together.
Cute.
If you're friends with somebody that does something like this, I mean, it'd be one thing if your friend says he's going to vote for Donald Trump, which can be forgiven, obviously. If your friend, on the other hand, is RFK and now he's running for president and then doing so in order to help Trump, you're a bad judge of character, Cenk. Like, you just are. That's just what it is.
Maybe you got one of those brainworms.
Hey, I hear that it's transferred through the air now, so
they could have been close contact, all up alone on that hike together.
Let's keep an eye on him. They're moving further and further.
I'm just presenting evidence, all right? I call them like I see them, all right? Like, this is where we're at.
Do they have a vaccine for brainworms yet? Is that a thing?
No, I think that's what he's trying to accomplish with this run. And also, it was funny today. They're talking about since Trump endorsed RFK, he ended up saying. So Trump was saying, "Hey, I'm going to disclose the JFK files." he literally said, "On my first day in office, I will release the JFK files to the public." And get to the bottom. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, what is happening here? And also, you gotta think, like, when RFK's the entire rest of his family is putting out a letter saying how, he turned his back on America just to get the job. I mean, one of the arguments the right's using right now is like, hey, if a lifelong Democrat is coming out against Kamala, then you should probably listen. And then the retort to that one is, well, if there's 500 plus Republicans that are coming out against Trump, shouldn't we listen as well? It's just a really sad day, with RFK just kind of selling himself out like that.
Yeah, and I mean he's just joining another club of people that pretend to be liberal. That once their popularity in liberal circles runs out, they just run to the right wing circles. Right? Like, we saw this with Tulsi Gabbard. We saw this with Dave Rubin. Like we saw this with Jimmy Dore. Like we saw these with all these different sort of influencers / politicians. It wasn't working out for them in the liberal spaces anymore because their ideas are, quite frankly, kind of kooky, right? So what do is like, I feel like I've been attacked by the oligarchs and the corporate media, and now I want to be on the right space where they actually take me seriously.
I mean, that's what Annika Sperrin was doing too. I mean,
she's
during the whole time
so
with crime,
close.
yeah, she just
so
needs
close,
one more
man.
push, and then she's gonna be full blown on Nick Fuentes' podcast.
I'm gonna put a prediction right here. By the end of next year, we're gonna get a why left to left Conspirian video.
Well, she already
Guaranteed.
said she's got a video out there right now saying she's unaffiliated politically, and she's out of the Democratic Party. It was when it was the crime wave. She was like, I just can't stand this intolerance from the left, and they're calling me blah blah blah. I am no longer associating with the Democratic Party, and so she put all that, thinking first of all that we don't care, and then second of all, she was just ranting and raving where she's testing the waters. People on the Young Turks are testing the waters. This is just how they roll.
Yeah, they're playing footsie with the right.